Hi guys, welcome to another video from Overbite Gaming, and today we're taking a look at UFC 6. Not been the easiest video to make this one. I'm currently sat doing the voiceover in 36-degree heat and had to turn my fan off. So yes, looking forward to finishing this and get that sucker back on. And capturing the footage from this was also a pain in the bottom. I have an AverMedia Live Gamer Ultra capture device, which I normally use. So I tried it this time, and when I went to capture the footage, it all came through and it received the signal into the application. But when I tried to capture the footage, it told me the device was busy. So I spent about a day trying to rectify that error, and I thought, shit, I'll just shadow play the preview window and I can blow it up and, just use that. No, that's not happening because Shadowplay detects that as another media source, and obviously bad people might want to take video footage that's not theirs, shall we say, and record it that way. So I couldn't do that either. So I eventually downloaded OBS, which, yes, is probably the most obvious thing to use anyway, and that was able to record from it, whereas the AverMedia software wasn't. And my CD drive has just ramped up again. It's just been that kind of fucking shoot. It really has. But anyway, let's talk about the game itself. So EA UFC 6 is, if you like EA UFC, it's probably the best one thus far. Now, I have my things to pick at for, but let's start off with some positives here. So the gameplay has evolved. They've done their regular change of a few bits and pieces, but it's all relatively intact. So, for example, overhands are now right one, left one, and your rear hand to throw the overhand, rather than, I think it was left one and hold down the rear hand button the last time. So they just kind of tweak it every time for no discernible reason, really. But most of the other stuff's intact. I did notice, however, that they've also included assists to striking now. It's a lot easier if you aren't very good at these games, aren't really versed in how they work. The game does more than enough to guide you through it. You can essentially button mash it now, because assisting the stand up, you got a button for punches, button for kicks, button for clinch, and button for, I think, takedown. And it will just throw the most appropriate ones, and you can just button mash to your heart's content. I was curious, so I put it on when I first started, and I hated it immediately. I hated not knowing what the hell I was going to throw. It was awful. They've also introduced some sort of slowdowns, so when you are trying to deny transitions and stuff like that, it slows down to allow you to do it more easily. It was helpful. I feel sometimes getting the transitions right can be tricky, especially if you haven't got the visual markers on, but you can still have the visual markers on and not have to slow down. So it really is catering for the absolute beginner, really. I in short order turned most of that stuff off and just played it sort of between easy and normal. I can play higher than that, but that's my sweet spot, because I can win fights in the contract section on hard. When it goes to pro, it's 50-50, and on legendary I lose. So it's not too bad. I'm not too bad at it, but we'll go. This year we have kind of a story mode. It's really, UFC 5 you could say, oh, it kind of has a story mode, but it was just 4 cutscenes and nothing else. That was your story mode. But this time there's more to it, so they are expanding it. It's still not much of one. So you play a predefined character. You don't get to create your own character. You play a guy called Chris Carter, and you're in the gym. There's another guy that you're friends with. He's a bit more arrogant. He's about to start something at the nightclub. The coach gets hit as a result of it when you have to beat up the guy that was antagonizing him. And he gets dropped from the gym. He finds his way to the UFC. You find your way to the UFC, and you have a grudge. And then once you beat him, you get the option to squash the beef, which is what I did, or to not forgive him. I don't know what not forgiving him likes, because I chose to squash it, and he ends up rejoining the gym, and You don't see him again, but you sometimes get texts from him just going, yeah, good show, you deserve your title shot and shit like that. Past that point, it just becomes standard career mode, except you're playing with this guy, Chris Carter, rather than like any fighter you might have chosen or created. So, yeah, it was disappointing to see it just devolve into career mode and not to have more of a story past that sort of initial rivalry. So yeah, it's a little bit more in depth than last time. There are choices to be made. I think there's only like maybe one or two that actually mean anything though. You'll go to press conferences and get asked questions, but you won't be able to pick answers. It will just go through the scripted answer. So yeah, not great. They need more work on it. That was the mode I played first, so it was fine for kind of like checking out the game to make sure I knew what the fuck I was doing. The gameplay, as I said, remains relatively intact. They have the Kumatai mode is back and the Backyard mode is back. They have introduced what's called My Gym. This kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit. So in My Gym, you can recruit fighters from the ranks and you unlock trainers as you level up your gym. And the fighters that you unlock, you can play in other modes and it will gain the gym experience and the fire experience. And all this experience does is unlock more trainers for your gym. You do get some of the in-game currency for achieving milestones and stuff, and just unlockables like different pants or avatar icons, stuff like that, stuff which does not interest me in the slightest, if I'm perfectly honest. But when I first went into it, I thought, oh cool, I'll be able to set up a gym of fighters and we'll go through kind of like a season mode or something, and I'll be able to use the fighters that I've gotten sort of on my gym, and I'll be able to use the trainers to train them up, so I don't have to play the training games, which are the same this year. And don't have to worry about that, because like if you want the maximum benefit in career mode, where you have to play the training drills. You can simulate them once you have like the result that you want. So if you get an A, you can just simulate it, but you'll get half the experience and half the fitness than you would if you drilled it. So if you want like to really progress, you have to drill them, which is boring. And the training, you could be up to 5 weeks, and you could do maybe 2 or 3 training sessions a day. And by the point you get to the fight and you're not going to go out in the first round, you're just like, I've just spent like 12 times as much time training as I have fighting. Now, yes, that's realistic to the way UFC fighters have to train for fights and then go into the fight. I get it, but it's no fun from a game standpoint. It wasn't fun last year, it's not fun this year. So I just tend to simulate what I can. I've played some of the drills here. I find the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling drills are least tedious, unless you get a drill where you don't have a submission from a particular place that it's asking you to submit someone from. That's a bit annoying. I don't know why they gate it like that. Learning moves is a little bit changed. You don't get them from other fighters anymore. You just go in, it's under training, you can learn moves. You just go and pick the move you want, and if you've got like the appropriate level of skill to learn that move, and sort of leg locks and things like that will unlock heel hooks, for instance, that you can then move. You pay a fee, it takes a set amount of time, you go into training, you do the move once and it's yours, and that's all there is to it. It doesn't really do much for your fitness, but you do get the new move out of it. And they are quite pricey. I think the cheapest is like 79,000 for a submission. Those were the ones I was playing through as a submission guy, so I wasn't too concerned about getting any of this stand-up stuff. The most expensive were like 130, I think, 130,000. So you're going to be looking at these a bit later in your career, because like once you get into the career, you will start earning money a lot quicker, and you do get pay-per-view points, even though UFC don't have pay-per-views anymore. So it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of more immersive, because that's the way it used to happen in the old days. The champion would get pay-per-view points, and that would be worth pretty much more than their purse. So it's nice to see it in the game anyway. The career mode is pretty much the same, with the differences that I've already explained. Graphically, I think it's a touch better. I don't think it's a huge leap forward, but it certainly looks... I mean, I'm playing on a base PS3, so to my eye there were no frame drops, no hitches, anything like that. Plays fine, looks better than last year, it's fine. The animations this time they seem to be using more physics-based animation, so it's based on the physics engine rather than anything pre-rendered in terms of the animations, which has led me to a few strange ones. Like I knocked out a guy where my fist hit his arm and missed his head. Yeah. So I think and sometimes the grappling positions can get all kinds of fucked up. I haven't seen many of them, to be fair. I'm sure we'll get some funny blooper videos out there. Like I think the original UFC had a bunch. I remember Tommy Toho did a video of them, and that was just fucking hilarious because he impersonated the announcers' voices to go with it. So you should check that out if you haven't seen it. It's well funny. But the music this year, much better in my opinion. I'm a Gen X guy, so you can imagine the kind of thing. It's got Linkin Park, it's got Papa Roach. I mean, it's got POD. Even if you want to come out to Here Comes the Boom, like the Kevin James movie, you can do that. And yeah, I did that because I kind of like Here Comes the Boom. I'm fully cognizant it's not a good movie, but it's kind of a guilty pleasure. It's got bass rooting in it, you know. And Kevin, you got to respect Kevin James for putting in the work to get into, at least semi-good shape for the movie. I mean, he did he did some of the shit you see on screen himself for sure. So respect for that. But anyway, we're getting off track. It's not Here Comes the Boom review. But then, the POD song is in there, so if you want to come out, that's great. That made me laugh. And last year there was a lot stronger of a rap contingent. I mean, they're still rapping at this time, but outside of a few, I like some DMX, stuff like that. Outside of a few rappers, I'm not hugely into rap, even though I really enjoy the Def Jam series, as you know, even Icon. But rap's not really the music I go for, but new metal and shit like that, that's my bag. It's just the time I grew up with, everybody was listening to it, and I just stayed listening to it. I think most of the music comes out nowadays is just terrible. So I am that old man that we all become someday. I mean, you kids out there go, yeah, stupid old fart. Music you listen to nowadays, your kids will be saying the same thing you're saying right now. Trust me. It's all cyclical. It all comes and it goes, just like my hair. Thanks, Dad. Is it worth the buy? It's a tough one. I mean, I buy UFC whenever a new one comes out, really. I have done since the old Undisputed series. So for me, it was a no-brainer because I always buy it. And I enjoy it. I've enjoyed my time with UFC 6. Despite, the problems I capturing it. There are a few bits and pieces that I would pick at that I've already stated. There's also something weird going on about the way it does Southpaw and Orthodox, in that you have to set it in the settings and then it changes the buttons to represent Southpaw and Orthodox, rather than just having square button be left hand and triangle button be right hand. It's gone like straight and jab, and then you can flip them around by switching between Southpaw and Orthodox, which is really distracting when you're playing multiple different fighters, like you're doing the challenges, because all of a sudden your jab button, that's a straight now. It's annoying. I just wish it would have the left and right buttons, and then just make them do whether it's a straight or a jab, just have that button do jab or straight, not have it flip sides. It's really off-putting for someone that's played all of the previous games that I press the jab button and he throws it straight with his other hand. It's just like, no thank you. that put me off a lot. I changed it and I was like, yeah, look, it's better now, and I put enough fire and it went back to normal because I was playing Southpaw initially, and then it went back to Orthodox, so I had to change it again, and it's just don't do that. I mean, the menu has tons of settings. There's no criticism for the amount of settings that it has. A lot of them do help newcomers play the game and will render it pretty laughable, if I'm honest, to anybody that's played these games before like I have. But it does have a lot of settings, and they should be lauded for that at least. But yeah, I just I mean, if you've got UFC 5, the only changes here are iterative. Like, UFC 5's roster always kept pretty up to date. There were regularly new fighters added to it. Getting distracted by sweat rolling down my chest. Sorry. So if you've got UFC 5 and you don't want to, pay out full price for a game, it is a full price game that they're asking for, and it is iterative improvements. It's not like the next big thing. It's not like, wow, where has this been all my life? It's not that. It is better. It is better than UFC 5. I won't sugarcoat it to that degree, but I think you can probably get by on UFC 5 until it at least comes down in price. If you're into the online, you might need to get the new one, because I suspect a lot of people will transition to 6 and will stop playing 5. But you can play 5 on Game Pass. If you got the package that allows you to play console games via the cloud, you can play it on Game Pass on PC. I've done it, even though I've got it on PS5 as well. So yeah, because it was free, and I was just like, yeah, I want to watch TV as well, so I'll just put it on here. Worked out nice. Anyway, guys, that's all for this week. UFC 6. I enjoyed my time with it. Is it a big enough jump over 5? Not sure. And some of the decisions in it are slightly questionable. But I give a cautious recommend. Maybe if it comes down in price, it'll be a bulletproof recommend. But cautious at the current price, at least. Okay, guys, take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.